Hi everyone. In the last video I showed you how to make individual objects on a PowerPoint slide link to other slides inside a single presentation so that you can create something like navigation for a non-linear interactive PowerPoint. So I've made something with a little bit of content here, holidays celebrated in America, with individual images here. Now you can see when I click on them, I'm not going anywhere. When I click on this little house here, however, I would go home, and this is the home. But when I click on this go arrow, then I will enter the part with instruction. So when I click on that, you can see that down the left-hand side of the screen, I've moved these individual images here so that they in turn link to different slides in the presentation. So when I click on Easter, I go to Easter. When I click on Halloween, I go to Halloween. When I click back on St. Patrick's Day, I go back to St. Patrick's Day. When I go to Christmas, I go to Christmas. And when I click on Home, I go back home. Okay? So all I did to accomplish this was from the home slide, I took these images, and you can do that by taking a screenshot and then cropping them down, or you can make many copies of the large image and then crop that large image down to the one that you want. So I did that and then put them all on the side here and then linked them. So you could see that this one here, for example, this little Easter image right here, when I right click on it, see when I clicked on edit hyperlink, see how it's linked to this particular slide, to slide number 3. And that's where I want it to stay. Also here you'll notice that I've added a little red arrow that indicates where the user is in the navigation. And it's always a good idea for the user to have a clear idea of where they are in the navigation, especially if you have one with a lot of branching logic in here. The red arrow is a little bit obvious, but I guess it does the job. Okay, so let me show a couple other things inside this one. I'm going to go back into the slideshow mode. I'm going to enter with the go arrow. And then right here on the Thanksgiving slide, you can see that when I mouse over the turkey turns into an Easter bunny. So the way to do that is to select the image that you want to add an action to, and then go to Insert, to the Insert tab, and then you'll see that there's a button here that says Action. When I click on Action, it allows me to do either mouse click operations or mouse over operations. So what I did was I created a mouse over operation and hyperlinked that to another slide. The way to do that is you can click on slide and it will ask you which slide do you want to link to, and then you select one, and I just created another one that had the bunny instead of the turkey, so that the effect is that when I mouse over it, it's actually going to another slide, but since the rest of the slide is exactly the same, it appears as though only the turkey is changing into the bunny. Okay. On mouse out, what I did was I made an invisible box around it, around the bunny, and then linked that and did exactly the same. So then on that slide here, in this box here, I linked that one back to the other slide. So the effect is that when someone mouses in on this slide, it changes instantly to the other slide, and then when they move the mouse out, it touches the invisible box on the outside of the bunny, and then it goes back to the turkey. Okay? So let's practice that real quick on the original slide. So here you'll remember when you first saw this slide and I was clicking on it, and it's kind of boring that I can't click on those and go right to the instruction for that particular holiday. So the way to do that is to simply draw an invisible box around the piece of the image that you want to make into the navigation. Now this here, you can see, is one image. So what I need to do is make a piece of that image hot or linkable. So I'm going to click on the rectangle tool here at the top, and then I'm going to draw a box around the piece that I want to make hot. So I want somebody to be able to click on Merry Christmas and go to the Christmas slide. So I've put a box around it. So now I'm going to right click on that box, and I'm going to hyperlink it to the Christmas slide, which I think is slide 7. Okay? And then I say OK. Then I'm going to do the same thing with Easter. Right click, hyperlink, choose the slide. I think that's slide 3, yes, and then OK. And then St. Patrick's Day, little box here, right click, hyperlink, and that is slide 2. And OK, and one last one for the 4th of July. Right click, hyperlink, and that is slide 4. OK. All right. Now, of course, now they can't see them, so what I have to do is make these invisible. So I'm going to select all of them at once, and you can do that by holding down the Shift key and clicking on them. So they're all selected. And then I go to Shape Fill. And I select that, and I just say No Fill. So now I can still see a little box around them, and I don't want that either. So again, I'm going to select them and do the same thing with Outline. Here it says Shape Outline, and then I select No Outline. And now they're invisible. Okay? So now, when I go to the presentation mode, I just pressed F5. Now when I click on Easter, I go to the Easter slide. Then I have to click here to go home. If I click on 4th of July, I go to 4th of July. When I click on Christmas, I go to Christmas, and then back home. Okay? So I've created pieces of this entire image that are hot and go to different places. Okay? So one more thing I wanted to show you, and that's animation. So it's about, it's going to be Thanksgiving soon, and let's say I want to eat some turkey. If I click on this little button here, I said is fire, then okay, boom, ha ha ha. What I did there was I created a little bit of animation, and any object in PowerPoint can be animated, which means you can make it move around, and you can get a little clever and make some nice little effects. So I've got here an image of the lightning. I've got this turkey, and then behind it I've got the explosion, and then the target of the turkey there. Then what I've done is I've created a motion path for the lightning object. Okay, so the way to do that is to select the object that you want to animate, and then click on the Animation tab. Okay, And then it gives you a lot of different options for things. You can make them appear and fade in and fly in and float in and all sorts of neat things. But what I want to do is make a motion path. So I click on Add Animation, and then down here it says Motion Paths. And you can move things in all kinds of different ways by drawing the path. And what I did here was I chose a custom path, and then that custom path is this one right here, and then it follows it. Then I had to add other images, that explosion, and then the picture, this next picture coming after it. All of these can be sequenced just by dragging them up and down, and then you can test what happens with the play button. When you right-click on the individual elements in the animation, you can choose to have it start with a click or after what's happened before, which is what I've done here, so that it can look like it's operating automatically. You can also delay it by clicking on timing, and you can say how long you want this to linger before it executes the next action. So then when I play the whole thing, it puts it all together in some kind of way that that is cute or funny or whatever. Okay? Alright, so we've looked at some animation. We've looked at mouse in and mouse out effects. We've looked at making individual images hot or linked to other things in an individual presentation. I think the one thing that I could do again to make this a little bit more clear about how to turn these into individual objects, all I did was I took the entire image here. I could copy that, and then here I've got a new slide, and then I could paste it many times, and then all I do is go to Format and Crop, and then I could crop it down so that I get just one image. Now I've got one here. Okay? And I can do that for all of the ones that I need. Okay? And then I can copy those with just Control C. And then I'm going to make a new slide here and add it to as many slides as I need. Okay? And that's about it. So looking forward to see what you come up with. We're trying to teach people something, so put some of what we've read so far into practice by considering instructional goals and the other features of instructional design that we've read about as you consider what you'll teach and how you'll teach it. All right, so enjoy.